I've got a crash damaged Duke 390 on the bench. Let's see if it will run. The bike's gone down hard on the left hand side, and there are a couple of issues that I'm not sure about. It'll either work or it won't, and if it doesn't, then just how big are the problems going to be? Let's have a look at the bike. So this is the side that it went down on. Now I've done a bit of prep work. I've got it on the bench, I've got it on a stand at the back so we can turn the rear wheel, and I've stripped off all other broken plastics so that we can actually see what's going on. They're just bolted on, but as you can see, that's gone. This panel which sits behind it is gone. I've just popped that out because it was quite crushed, so that's gone. I've taken the rear foot peg hanger off because that was skew-if. Previous owners taken the heel guards off those, so they'll need to be replaced. When they came off, don't know how well you can see that. Oh, there we go. Those bolts are bent that hold it on. Oh, that one's a bit more bent. So those are bent. And this mounting hole here looks a little bit pulled out. So I don't think that's going to work. And the bridge that links this foot peg with this one is also broken. So that rear foot peg took a hit when the bike went down. This handlebar, not maybe so obvious. Well, there's the scars. We can see it went down on this side. And there's a kink. Enough that it's taken the paint off. So I don't think there's any coming back for these bars. You could straighten that, but when it's taken that much damage, I think the actual metal is going to be fatigued and you do risk it falling off. Aside from that, seems to have come off not too badly. It's got some, which I think some fairly dodgy aftermarket levers on. They look all nicely adjustable, but this is, shall we say, a little bit wobbly. A little bit of scarring here, a little bit of scarring down the mask, more scarring down here, a little bit of scraping. Can't see it here, there's a scuff on the disc at one point, and a little scratch here. Some scraping here. Now there's some scratches in the stanchion down here. That might write this fork leg off. It's a little bit scuffed down here as well. It didn't have any protection on it. It's why with this sort of bike it's probably a good idea to actually have some protection. And similarly, no protection back here. So we've got road scuff here, and taking the plastics off has revealed that the radiator's taken a hit because it's black. You can't really see that. I've bent this bracket back out a bit, but that is no longer connected. So I need to decide, do I get the radiator repaired? Let's see my last video on radiators. For people telling me I shouldn't have bought second hand, I should have just got it repaired. That, I don't know. I'm more tempted with the idea. There's some kinking in the top here as well. I think they probably could cut that off, put a new side panel on, beat it out, whatever. So I think it's probably repairable, and that pipe could be rejoined. Definitely repairable, but you've got to get these brackets back to the right position to bolt the body panels on, and I'm not sure that that's going to be easily feasible. So I think, despite all the advice, I'm going to be buying another radiator for this bike, and maybe getting this one fixed as a spare. Now, shall we see the interesting parts? I've had to put this on charge overnight because the battery was flat. I did try the starter and all it did was click the relay. Okay, and I've put some fuel in it because there was a low fuel warning which was flagging up an indicator here, and I wanted to be sure that that was actually a problem and there wasn't another problem with the bike. But before we start it up, we've got to deal with this. So the bike was crashed in 4th gear and it's remained in 4th gear ever since. So let's see why. But before we do that, in case you're wondering why I tried the starter on the bike, I've put oil in the engine. It was down below the minimum level, and I've put oil on this chain too, which was completely bone dry, and not only bone dry, it was slack. You might also notice that it's missing the chain guard because somebody has cut the integrated chain guard off the hugger and done so with a blunt hacksaw by the look of it, which is a strange thing in my opinion to do to a brand new bike. This bike's got 1500 miles on it. Not sure why you do that. Entirely sure why you take the heel guards off the rear foot pegs, passenger foot pegs either, but there you go. Taking the chain guard off is not something I'm going to criticise people for. Personally, I don't do it, but to take the chain guard off and then have a really slack chain like this did, yeah, this speaks to me, along with the low oil level of an inexperienced rider, which I guess is quite common with this model. So why is it in 4th gear? Well, because of this. Now in my experience, that's not the normal position for the gear lever to be. Question is, how much damage did it actually do in getting up here? This seems to be in the normal position. It's not been pulled back further than it should have done, but obviously in getting the foot peg up through here, you got some play in the ball joints here, so it could have just popped its way through to there, and that's what I'm hoping, because otherwise the engine is coming out and being split apart in order to access the gearbox. So hopefully that doesn't need to happen. Hopefully it just, as I say, popped through these here, but we'll see. So the first thing we need to do is to take this gear lever off so that we can push it back, because at the moment it's not going anywhere at all. So let's get this off, get it popped back in its proper position, and then see if we can work our way through the gears back to neutral so we can start the engine. Okay, well, I think we can say for certain that the bolt is bent. Yep, it's part of the problem. Washer's bent too. Wonder why there's two. Anyway, that washer is bent. Got a scrape mark here. And the back of the gear lever is cracked right through. There's no coming back for that gear lever. Not unless you could TIG it back smooth, but to be honest, not going to go there. Ball joints seem okay. That doesn't seem bent. Nice. It has a proper bearing in there. That's good. Right, let me find a replacement bolt and see what we can do. Okay, I'm going to over tighten that. Let's see if we can get it out of gear. Alright. Okay. Move the rear wheel. So, neutral. Second. Third. Fourth. That's where it was. Fifth. Seems to like the gearbox moving. Sixth. So all the gears are there. Doesn't seem terribly habit changing gear. Popping through the gears, but seems to want the gear tyre moved, so. Right, neutral light. Let's see what happens. Well, it starts, it runs. Not happy about that rattle in the engine, but I don't know if that's normal for this model when they're cold. Let's see if it will go through the gears. starts, it runs, changes gear, the rattle goes away when the engine warms up. So far it's looking promising. Time to order some parts. Definitely a radiator, handlebars, chain guard, gear lever, and some assorted hardware that got bent and damaged in the accident, and then some new plastics. They might have to wait a bit because I don't know what the budget's going to be on this build. Paying out quite a bit for this because, you know, even crash damaged, and there's more damage I see back here. These are popular with the breakers because they obviously can take them apart and sell for the parts. So there's a minimum price on a bike as new as this. The upside is a bike as new as this, you can buy all the parts. It's not like dealing with a 20-year-old bike. This, you can go to a dealer and buy the parts. And looking online for some of the panels, they're surprisingly cheap. I'm sure give it 20 years and they will be extortionate. So there we go. I need to clean up that mess from the radiator, tidy away, and go and look for some parts for this bike so that we can get it back on the road, because certainly with the radiator in that condition, this can't be ridden. So thanks very much for being with me on stage 1 of the voyage of the Duke 390, and I will see you guys again soon.